So we had quite a bit happen in motorsports this weekend. We have trucks and ARCA at IRP. We got F1 in Belgium. In IndyCar at Laguna Seca, Alex Palou gets one step closer to the three-peat. And the Canada Series heads to Calabogie for the first time ever. So yeah, anyway, let's take a look at how motorsports fared this weekend. So starting off, we have the ARCA race at IRP. And well, this ARCA race, it was mainly a two-man fight for the bet win between Butterbean Queen and Brent Cruz, as both of them were the class of field all race. It was an epic battle between the both of them for the win throughout the entire race. But in the end, late in the race, Brent Cruz had pulled a slide job on Butterbean, and Brent Cruz would win this battle over Butterbean Queen and get the win at IRP. While Butterbean Queen continues to pull away in the championship this year. Be a great battle between those two. It's pretty good what happens when ARCA doesn't become a clown show. They can have good races. You know, pretty good to see for ARCA having some good races here. And also, shout out to Isabel Robusto and finally having another good run too with a 4th place finish. Good to see her finally having some good luck, because she got plagued with bad luck pretty early in the year. But good to see her luck finally starting to turn around. Maybe someday Isabella Robusto will finally win an ARCA race. Someday. Please win a race at some point, Isabella. I want to see her win a race for once. Just please do it. Now we move on to the Truck Series race at IRP. It's mainly this race was a two-way fight for the win between Lane Riggs and Corey Heim. As Lane Riggs had the best truck throughout this race, but even despite the best efforts from Corey Heim and Friesen and many others, nobody had an answer for Lane Riggs, as Lane Riggs just dominated IRP, just like how he dominates the short tracks nearly every week. And Lane Riggs gets another win this year, building some momentum towards the truck chase. Says, oh yeah, we're only 2 races away from the trucks chase. And yes, there is a Chase Grid Predictions video coming for trucks. We're still doing those videos, even though I fucking hate doing the Chase Prediction videos. But it's honestly a tradition at this point, so we'll keep it going. But yeah, Lane Riggs gets the win. And even with Corey Heim's 4th place finish, ends up being a 3rd place finish after Stuart Friesen got disqualified for the ride height being too low in post-race tech. Beep! Which will be appealed, so that may be coming back. But regardless if it gets if the penalty disqualification gets overturned or not, it don't matter if Heim ends up 3rd or 4th, because regardless of where he'll end up, it's still 3rd or 4th still would have been good enough anyway for what Heim ended up needing to do at IRP. As with his top 3 and top 4 finish, Corey Heim does enough to clinch the regular season championship 2 races early. Sadly for Corey Heim, those 15 bonus points can't help you out at Phoenix when it matters, when it actually matters. Yeah, just thinking this, all this domination from Corey Heim. All of this just to end up finishing 4th in the championship at Phoenix. And so, yeah, all I say is, well, how does Corey Heim get fucked out of the championship this time for the 3rd year in a row? God damn it, I fucking hate the chase format. Stupid chase format, it's inconsistent bullshit. Always fucking over the best driver all year. Honestly, what the fuck was Daniel Trotter smoking when she went after Mark Martin this week? Now we go to the Canada Series race at Calabogie. And I heard the Canada Series race was good. There was one problem with this inaugural race at Calabogie. This race wasn't televised live. It was a tape-delayed race that's gonna be aired at a later date on both YouTube and on TV. Well, once again, it's a repeat of what happened at Riverside earlier this year. Tape delays. Once again, wasn't the whole point of Canada Series leaving TSN to go to Rev Racing was so they could broadcast the races live? And yet we're still getting tape-delayed races anyway. And speaking of TSN, they're still airing the races on TSN about a week later. So about the normal. So not much really changed except now in Rev Racing. they can actually air them live, but except for 2 occasions. And there was really no scoring pylon either, so you couldn't keep up with it on, like, Race Center. So it was like, yeah, it was that's pretty disappointing. Especially for the Canada Series inaugural race in Calabogie, which is like an hour northwest of Ottawa. So, like, not far away from the nation's capital. Because fun fact for non-Canadians just like to assume that Toronto is Canada's national capital city, which that is wrong. Even though some people think it's Toronto, no. The national capital of Canada is Ottawa, not Toronto. Or not Montreal either. The correct answer is Ottawa. So yeah, that's pretty disappointing that it wasn't aired live or anything. And there wasn't any TVs, and yeah, not much, not even grandstands at the track. So, a lot of things that need to be improved on for next season at Calabogie. But yeah, honestly, Canada Series needs to start getting their shit together. Like, it's already bad enough the Canada Series is already on a bad foot with the fan base after what happened in Saskatoon last week with the ref ball. And also, the Canada Series social media team has some serious balls to really push that Cameron for Kevin McQuall rivalry. After the Canada Series literally ruined that rivalry in Saskatoon when they fucked Cameron over for doing the bump and run on McQuall. Yeah, but yeah, anyway, to the race though, I heard it was a good race. It was very hard to keep up with it with everything going against it. Like, the only way you could keep up with it is anything anybody fans out at the track were saying. But yeah, it's pretty disappointing it wasn't aired live. I heard it was a good race. But coming into this weekend, the big story coming in was Connor Bell, a local racer at Calabogie, in the Calabogie area. Coming this weekend, I didn't really know much about Connor Bell or who the hell he was. But he was getting the opportunity of a lifetime driving the 3-car for Ed Hackinson Racing, since Jason Hathaway's on a part-time schedule. But yeah, and one of the biggest upsets in the Canada Series recent history, Connor Bell in his Canada Series debut comes into Calabogie and wins the inaugural race at Calabogie in his first career start. What? The hell with upset of the season? This is the upset of a lifetime. In his first career start, Connor Bell is officially a winner in the NASCAR Canada Series. If anybody didn't know him coming in this weekend, everybody will know him now. But yeah, honestly, congrats to him on making the most of the opportunity of a lifetime in the 3-car. That could help him out in the future if he ever wants to come in the series full time. Great to see that. It's been a while since we've had an episode of this magnitude in the Canada Series. It's also had Hackinson's first win in the Canada Series in like 5 years, since like 2020 with Hathaway, during Hathaway's championship season, that pandemic-shorn 2020 season. So yeah, it's been a hot minute since Ed Hackinson Racing won in the Canada Series. But yeah, congrats to Connor Bell on his first career win. Well deserved. Too bad this race wasn't aired live. That's pretty disappointing. But yeah, Canada Series has a lot of things they need to get together. Like, Jesus Christ, at this point, they may need to just blow it up and just restart from scratch and rebuild this thing. Because with how many issues there are in the series, that's like my only suggestion to fix the problem in the Canada Series. Just blow it up and restart everything. Now we go to the F1 race in Belgium. And what was this F1 race? The start of it was starting to look like a rerun of 2021. Where during the formation lap, they would call it off and red flag the race due to rain. It wasn't much rain, it was just poor track visibility. Because drivers couldn't see that well with the spray coming off the car ahead of them. So yeah, the race was delayed until the conditions improved. So yeah, the start of it was just a rerun of Belgium 2021 all over again, to where we're like, oh shit. Are we really about to have that scam job from 4 years ago happen again at Belgium? In nearly the exact same way? But one positive I'll say about this race is I do like F1's creativity with the intro. because for that normal intro they do, they didn't do the theme song that Brian Tyler's made famous in F1 the last 7 years. Instead, they changed it up for one, because I believe this is only a one-off deal, but they actually went with the F1 theme song that Hans Zimmer did for the F1 movie. That F1 movie that came out with Brad Pitt, which I have seen that movie. Yes, I have seen the F1 movie. It's a really fucking good movie. It's an absolute fucking masterpiece. Like as the kids say these days, it was absolute fucking cinema. That movie was. I've seen that movie twice in theaters. I saw it with my brother, and I saw it with actually my mom, too. So, yeah, it was a really good movie. I fucking enjoyed it. It was one of the best racing movies I've ever watched in my lifetime. Like, honestly, I'd say it's better than Days of Thunder. That's how much praise I give that F1 movie. It was absolutely fucking brilliant movie overall. Really great movie from everything from top to bottom, including soundtrack and everything. So yeah, it was actually a really good movie, and it's honestly cool to see that theme song from the movie be used for the intro. Like, that was actually pretty cool. It's something different and unique, but I mean, as good as that theme song was, you can't ignore what Brian Tyler's impact Brian Tyler's theme song had on F1. You can't ignore that one, especially when we had it for 7 years, and how much of an absolute banger it is, because every time you hear that song on for F1, it gets you that hyped up. But honestly, the Hans Zimmer one, I wouldn't mind that one either, just to watch the race get canceled after 3 hours. But to the race itself, though, the race would not get canceled. As actually, this race would not end up like Belgium 2021, because we actually completed more than 2 laps behind the safety car. Because this race would begin behind the safety car. But we actually completed more than 2 laps this time. We went the first 4 laps behind the safety car before they finally let them go green. And once they actually went green, not much really happened after that, outside of Lando Norris having some electrical issues on the actual start, which opened the door for Oscar Piastri to take the lead. And once Lando's issues did get fixed because he used quite a bit of battery under the safety car, once that got fixed, the damage was already done and Piastri was gone. And even despite any pit strategy from when to switch over from intermediates to mediums, even though Lando did make the ballsy choice of going to hard tires, not much really happened. It was just your average tame Belgium race under these current F1 regulations. Honestly, I cannot wait for next year's regulations. Hopefully next year's regulations improve everything with the new car coming out next year. But yeah, in the closing laps, so it looked like maybe Lando had a chance to possibly run down Piastri, because he was faster than Piastri in the closing laps. Until in turn 1, when Lando would lock it up with like 5 to go, which would cost him a set 1.2 seconds, and that would be enough for Piastri to run away. And when it looked like Lando was possibly going to turn the tides in the championship, Oscar said, "Nope, it's back in my favor, bitch." As in the McLaren Civil War, it's now Oscar Piastri's turn to strike blood in this battle, as he ends up getting the win when winning this battle in the McLaren Civil War. And also solid result for Ferrari as Leclerc ends up on the podium. Even Leclerc doing another Kimi Räikkönen "leave me alone, I'm doing what I'm doing" impersonation, when Ferrari tried to overwhelm him with information when Verstappen was running him down. But Leclerc was able to hold Verstappen off and keep Verstappen off the podium. And also, Verstappen, if you think this Red Bull car is this bad, well, get ready. You gotta put up with that car for 1 more year. Because Verstappen's exit clause has expired, so he cannot leave now. Which means Verstappen is staying with Red Bull for 1 more year. Which means the earliest he can join Mercedes is 2027. Don't worry, Toto. You'll get Verstappen someday. You're just gonna have to wait 1 more year. At least now with that 1 year, Toto Wolff can now make the choice of Mercedes of if he wants to keep either Kimi Antonelli or George Russell. Some big decisions coming here. I'll just say this, Red Bull's gonna be completely fucked once Verstappen's gone. Let's not kid ourselves there. There's no way Red Bull will walk into a generational talent for a 3rd time, like they did with Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen. The clock ain't gonna strike strike a third time for Red Bull. All I say is if Red Bull somehow backs into a third straight generational talent after Verstappen leaves, God help us all. Especially with Christian Horner now gone. But yeah, I'll just say this though to end this off in terms of the F1 theme songs with Hans Zimmer and Brian Tyler's theme song. I think there is a way for both songs to possibly coexist. I think you can keep Brian Tyler's on for the initial intro, but you could switch it over to Hans Zimmer's for when they describe the track layout and the whole map of all the tracks and where they're at, and the starting grid, and everything else you need to know about the track, and some of the good moments that have happened at certain tracks. And also the tire compound choices for the race. Like, I'll say this, though. I'm not against either theme song. I think both songs are absolute fucking bangers, but I do think there is a way for both of them to coexist together. I would not be against one, keeping one, or the other, or having both, but, I mean, find a way to make both coexist. I think it's the best of both worlds. That would make everybody happy, and not split the entire fan base in half. You know, just my 2 cents, you know. There's really no wrong answer with either theme song. Both are absolute bangers. Both are equally deserving to be the theme song for this race. Even though I do think the Hans Zimmer theme song is just a one-off, just because of how successful the F1 movie is. So, yeah, plus I think F1 saw somebody do that theme song for an intro video, just a custom edit. And F1 said, you know what, let's actually do that for one race. I'll be honest though, if they were going to do that for a race, why the fuck would they not do it for Silverstone? You know, where the whole movie first started. To be honest. That's like the only spoiler I'll give out in terms of the F1 parts of the movie. Was that it all started at Silverstone. But also at the same time, though, you've had about maybe 2-3 weeks to see the movie. So at this point, though, if you haven't seen the movie yet, then that's your own fault. And honestly, you're subjected to getting spoilers now until the movie comes out on DVD. So yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, well, that's your own fault. And now we get to the IndyCar race at Laguna Seca. And well, this race was the Alex Palou show, like a majority of races have been this year. As Alex Palou decided after about a month of not winning an F1 race, and actually going a pretty long stretch about winning a race, because outside of Iowa, when he won Iowa out of nowhere, but Alex Palou decided it was time to go back to his old ways, and go back to giving the field belt to ass on road courses. As really it was a pretty average race at Laguna Seca. There were a few incidents, and we even had some fucking terrible IndyCar officiating. I wouldn't call what happened to Marcus Ericsson ref ball. I think it was just pure incompetence from IndyCar. When IndyCar waited too damn long to throw the caution for a stalled Marcus Ericsson on top of the hill. Like that, and that was a fucking blind area where nobody could actually see Ericsson until they get to the top of the hill. Where he literally was standing in a racing line and they waited 2-3 laps to throw the caution for him. It's like, honestly, that was like the only real negative about this race was IndyCar officiating doing their best NASCAR impersonation. Yeah, IndyCar officiating went full NASCAR. You never go full NASCAR. Going full NASCAR is an absolute fucking disaster. Which bred a couple late race cautions. Like, it was an average Laguna Seca race, some pretty solid racing. But in the end, despite all that, it wasn't going to be enough to stop Alex Palou. Even despite the best efforts from Colton Herta and Christian Lundgaard, nobody had an answer for Palou. As this was Alex Palou's day once again. And once again, Alex Palou dominates on a road course and wins at Laguna Seca, winning 3 out of 4 races at Laguna Seca. So yeah, Alex Palou's got this track figured out pretty well. Palou has now won 3 out of 4 races at Laguna Seca. Just absolute masterclass out of Palou there. And now Palou gets his 8th win of the season. Jesus Christ, 8 wins for Palou this year. Jesus Christ, dominating the race sport this year. And with that win, Palou now extends his championship lead to 121 points over Pato O'Ward. And no, Palou has not locked up the championship. However, with his points gap, Alex Palou is now officially one race away from clinching the 2025 IndyCar Championship, which means Palou is one race away from clinching the three-peat. As the next race will be Portland in 2 weeks. And for that race in Portland, Alex Palou can clinch the title in Portland if he's 104 points ahead of second in the championship after Portland. So he just has to stay above 104 points, so he cannot lose no more than 18 points. So he cannot lose more than 18 points in the championship at Portland. And if Palou locks up the title, he'll clinch it 2 races early. And we'll address all the crybabies that'll cry about it. Cry about Palou's domination being boring. We'll address that at fucking when the inevitable happens at Portland. But honestly, Chase Elliott said it best in terms of season-long points. Who gives a shit if a driver locks up the title a race or 2 early? Like Chase Elliott said it best, some people just need to shut the fuck up and celebrate greatness and acknowledge greatness. Problem is, some fans are fucking babies and they don't know how to acknowledge greatness when it's right there in their face. Because some people don't appreciate a good thing until it's gone. Just like that. Yeah, plus seasons like Palou that's like seasons that Palou is having right now. These type of seasons don't happen often in IndyCar. Honestly, it'd be a good thing if Palou clinches the title early. Because it makes you appreciate the closer championship battles that have gone down to the wire even more. Because Game 7 moments don't happen often. It's pretty rare to see title fights go down to the wire, but when they do, special moments happen. This is just one of those years where it's not going to go down to the wire, just it's Palou's year. So what if Palou clinches it 2 races early? If he's clinching it 2 races early, he more than likely deserves the championship. It just shows that nobody was on Palou's level this year. And it's very fucking clear that nobody is on Palou's level this year. Especially when 2 of Palou's wins have been on ovals, with one of them being the biggest race in all of motorsports in the Indy 500. Just some people need to stop being fucking babies. The problem is, though, a lot of people are going to use Palou's championship this year and use it as more evidence on why NASCAR shouldn't go back to a full season points format and keep the fucking chase/playoffs. When it's like, no, the playoffs are stupid and fucking dumb and bad for motorsports. But some people just lack common sense brain cells. Our dad or NASCAR, a lot of younger NASCAR fans today were born into the chaotic world of NASCAR, and they can't imagine a world without the chaos. Well, IndyCar and F1 are those two worlds without the chaos. But yeah, honestly, if Palou's locking up the title 2 races early, then he deserves the title, right? When it's your year, it's your fucking year. And it's Palou's year once again. Just some people need to shut the fuck up and acknowledge greatness. Anyway, see you all for next week for the Cup race at Iowa. I'm out.